Hello, my friends. So, if today's date, September the 2nd, is your birth date, this is a reading for you for this year. This is a four-card pull, a general energy card for the year, a challenge you might face this year, an action you can take to stay in balance, and an outcome card or synopsis card of where is this all leading. So, your general energy card for the year is the fault line. And the fault line talks about, well, something like the Earth's fault lines, the two continents moving against each other to move separate and away from each other. There's something that seems to happen over time, and pressure seems to increase, and it feels like an inevitable thing that's going to happen, and on some level you need to prepare, we need to prepare, and on other levels we have to surrender and let go. So the fault line is all about feeling like something is happening in your life that is slowly breaking apart, that you need to be aware of, that you need to understand, what you're feeling around it, and whether you're feeling resentment or whether you're feeling surrendered and open to it, or whether you still want to try something, but what is left to try. There's quite possibly words have been said that have created animosity and resentment, and there's just no, or there's just a sense of no longer in that same space, no longer in that same love space or workspace or connection space. And to understand that that's okay, and to understand that there's room for forgiveness and room for moving on, but you have to be aware, and you have to be awake, and you have to recognize on some levels that something is breaking apart and has been breaking apart, and it's not really your fault, and it's not really their fault. More than likely, maybe it is, but more than likely not. So the challenge for the fault line is this card, which is the Three of Cups. And that's everyday joyful play of family. So your challenge is to feel like you can have an everyday joyful play in your family, that you can have fun and you can have pleasure. The challenge is to feel like there's pleasure. The challenge is to feel like there's camaraderie. The challenge is to feel like there's fun. The challenge is to feel like there's mutual support for each other to feel your emotions and share them in a a sacred place, but in a fun place and in a communal place and in a quote family kind of energy. Now, this doesn't have to be all about family. This can be a partner. This can be a work partner. This can be just some kind of connection to some kind of group that or person that you thought at one point was feeding you. You were both feeding each other. You were both getting something out of some kind of emotional relationship, and it was smooth and happy. But now it feels like, how do you find the smoothness and the happiness again? And is that even possible? But if the fault line is there, maybe there's a sense of inevitable falling apart and shifting and cracking apart. So, what is the action that you can take? Well, it's the Jaguar. And Jaguar, the it's talked about as integrity and impeccability. The integrity is to not allow yourself to become small, not allow yourself to become mean spirited as things possibly shift and break away, not to allow yourself to be judgmental or overbearing, not to be allowed to say, well, I'm better than you, or I knew this better than you, or you're responsible for these things. This is something, again, that has been building for a long time. And if you can hold your power in purpose, you can hold your power with grace, you can hold your beliefs about yourself in a sense of beauty. If you can learn to forgive and move on, if you can learn to just move on and surrender with some kind of peace without attacking, and Jaguar it's about not needing to draw your claws out and not needing to attack someone if you feel like, they're possibly, attacking you back. If you can hold your power, be kind to someone else as they go through their pain, because they might blame you and you might blame them, but if you don't throw the blame out and you don't throw the pain out and you don't add any more to the situation, then that's a sense of holding your integrity. If you can be impeccable in your word, be clean and clear in your sense of yourself, be if you can be holy to them and forgiving to them, and allow them to be sacred and have their pains and their traumas and their dramas and their faults and their challenges, and you can do that with yourself, then you're in a very enlightened place, and you are a sense that no one can bury your spirit. And if you hold your spirit high, no one can bury your spirit, and you can shine through whatever the dramas and traumas that will come to you along your way. And you can recognize that fault lines always need to be there with different things and people and relationships and work and even jobs that we take on, or even parts of ourself that need to separate. Sometimes we just have to take the high road and take the best measure, and not hold ourselves with lots of guilt and shame and pain about something that we have done before. Yes, it was a fault line that cracked inside of you, and that did a split inside of you, and now you can reclaim that energy, as long as you're doing it again with integrity and responsibility and impeccability, to be truthful, honorable, forgiving, compassionate, loving, and full of grace. This is a time of finding grace, the grace within yourself and the grace within spirit, to move you along and to allow you to surrender and to allow you to be the healthiest you could possibly be, as something that needs to shifts away from you. Ahom Mitakuye, blessed be. May your inner light shine. May your inner child always be well and healthy and safe. And may you always find the adult to take them there and to keep them there, and to honor their pain and to hold them with comfort, your inner child, and to tell them that you will protect them in the future. Might not have done the best job in the moment, but it's a learning curve, and ask your inner child for forgiveness, and tell them that you're going to keep doing better within yourself. And that's another point of, I think, integrity and impeccability that might be very appropriate for you in this run. So, Ahom Mitakuye, blessed be.